Now, my question came from Jill, and this is my other sticking point is when I feel that the task in front of me will somehow judge work I've already done. And she said, yes, I know how that sounds. Don't worry, Jill. I totally empathize. So today I'm feeling resistance about reviewing my chapter structure because I'm afraid I'll discover I need to rewrite pages of it. Again, so common. I'm sure lots of you listening will resonate with that, especially at the beginnings of our academic career. We really attach our work to ourselves and to our worth. And therefore, if the task we need to do is to pick holes in something that we kind of self-identify with, that we think is part of us, then of course that's not a fun job to do. You know, anything where you're critiquing your own performance isn't fun if you make that mean lots of negative things about you. So if by looking at a piece of work that you've done in the past and you're trying to pull it apart to improve it, the narrative that's going on in your head is, oh God, you should have done this before. Oh God, this is rubbish. I can't believe you wrote this so badly. We're going to have to do so much work now. This is terrible. Then of course it's going to feel awful. But I want you to imagine an expert. I want you to imagine somebody who's a high performance in something you care about. So like an athlete or a musician or something, and they're watching their race or they're listening to their performance and they're almost gleefully looking out for things that they're doing wrong because they know if they can identify things they're doing wrong, they can make it better. And making it better is what they want to do. I want you to imagine those people in whatever context works for you. That's the vibe we want to bring to analyzing our work, not looking for mistakes in a kind of, I don't want to find any because that means I've got to do some work and that means I've been rubbish and I've wasted time and da. But I want to find things I can improve here because I'm going for peak performance. I want this to be as good and as clear and as articulate as I can make it. And it's fun to look for places that I can shave off a bit here and add a bit of nuance there. Okay. So that's the first thing, is really thinking about how we can change the way we're thinking about this as a task. The second thing kind of takes that on a deeper step. Why is it a problem if you find things wrong with it? And this will differ for different ones of you. Sometimes it's because it feels like a lot of effort, that if I identify that it needs restructuring, it feels like I'm going to have to do a whole load more work, and that feels like a lot of effort. Other times it's because we allowed ourselves to believe it was done, and now it's going to be a bit disappointing if it's not. Or we're worried that however much we pick it apart, it's never going to be good enough. I want you to identify really specifically for you why it's a problem that you might find something wrong with it. And this will differ a bit for all of you. And then what we do is, instead of avoiding looking for those faults, instead of avoiding finding the problems, we look after ourselves through that problem. So if you know that it feels like a lot of effort, that's why it's a problem, because it feels like so much work to do and that's a lot of time and effort, then you reassure yourself on that stuff. You reassure yourself that we don't have to do it all today, that we're going to support ourselves to get it done, that it could be fun to do a bit more. I remember I took part in I won a mentor award thingy for fiction writing 2 years ago. And even 3 years ago. 3 years ago, blimey, time's running past. Anyway, and part of my sort of process through that of reviewing the novel that I'd written made me realize, I may have told this story before, but made me realize that I needed to write it in first person instead of third person, which meant completely rewriting the whole thing. And I had that feeling that it sounds as though you guys have sometimes, where it's like, oh man, that's a whole lot of work. But I also knew it was the right thing. And so instead of avoiding it, what I did was I looked after myself while I did that. It made it easy for me to make the changes I needed to. I made it fun. I reminded myself how much better I was making it. And I actually plowed through it pretty quickly. So if you're feeling that judgment, totally get it. Think about why it's a problem and think about how you can support yourself through that. What do you need to say to yourself so that it doesn't feel quite so bad to need to rewrite the things you've done? Finally, just as an aside, let's just start from the place that you're going to have to rewrite this more times than you think. Because part of the problem here is when we kind of set ourselves up our expectations that a first draft, once we've done a first draft, all we'll have to do is tweak it and it'll be fine. Let's just not start from that place. Let's just start from the place that I'm going to rewrite this 10 times and that's fine. Because actually, if we just get on with that, like I did with my novel, if we just get on with that, you can actually get it done way faster than if we're procrastinating even looking because we're scared of what we'll find. Let's just look, get on with it, look after ourselves as we go. Let me know what you think about that question, or whether that's brought up other questions for you.